So I was about 8 years old, so I was in 3rd grade. It was March, so around 2004, and it was around 2004, and it was spring-like. You could see all the flowers blooming. We had a bunch of bluebonnets that year, unlike now, how you just see patches here and there on the side of the road when you drive. But there was a whole bunch. And my teacher, I remember her so well because she was the nicest teacher ever. At least that's what I thought then. Her name was Miss Roundtree. She was blonde, tall, and skinny. And she was like the, I guess what you would call American Girl, the picture of the American Girl, which is blonde, blue-eyed, and skinny, and tall. She had something about her. She was just like us, which I guess you kind of have to be a 3rd grade teacher to understand us. But anyway, it was a school day, and I had just gone home. So it was about 3:30, elementary school. Walked home. I don't live that far from the elementary school, which is now the Excel Academy back in Manor. I live in Hamilton Point, so I just had the neighborhood is right behind the elementary school. So I just walked home, and I did my homework, did everything I was supposed to do. I was home for about 15-20 minutes by myself, and then my parents came home, both of them, my mom and dad. My mom had dinner started and everything. She was getting everything ready. My dad was on the couch watching TV like he normally does and doesn't do anything. But my mom was doing everything. She was cooking, cleaning the kitchen while she was in there, and I was just in my room waiting for dinner to be done like a normal 8-year-old, not caring about anything but myself and my TV in my room. So that happened, and dinner was done. I think we had baked chicken with some vegetables, maybe. And then I just went back to my room. It was about 7. I was watching Pixel Perfect on Disney Channel. My room was like any 8-year-old's room. Everything's purple. I'm pretty sure everybody has everything purple in their room. At least that's what I thought when I was 8. I had butterflies and a purple bed cover on my bed. It was perfect. I loved it. And then my TV was catty-cornered from my bed. So I was just sitting there, just like this, so interested in what was going on, focusing on the movie and only the movie, nothing else. And I hear my mom. She comes in, and she was on the phone, and she was talking to my grandmother. And so I motioned to her. I'm like, come here, trying to get her to do something for me. I was like, come rub my back. You know, it feels good. It itches. Come rub it. So he was like, okay, just to get me to be quiet while she was on the phone. So I feel her in her hand. She picks my shirt up a little bit. I feel her hand going up and down and side to side. I'm like halfway asleep. And then I feel her hand just drag across my back, like diagonally. And that's it. And I'm like, come on, it's only been like 2 minutes. Keep going. And I turn around, and she wasn't there. So I was like, okay, maybe she left. But I looked down, and she's there, like just lying on the floor. Motionless, nothing, not doing anything, like just barely breathing. And so I'm like, you okay? What are you doing? Hello? And so I realized she's not moving. She's not doing anything. She's just there on the floor doing nothing. So I run to the living room, and I go get my dad, and he runs back to my room with me. And he's like, Paige, find the phone and call 911. So that's what I did. I looked for the phone. I knew it had to be in my room, but I didn't know where because I couldn't see it anywhere. So I get on the floor and I look under my bed, and it's a black phone about maybe that big. And it's there under my bed, so I grabbed it. And my dad told me to call 911, so that's what I was getting ready to dial. But before that, I picked the phone up and I put it to my ear, and I heard someone saying hello, and I was like, yeah, who's this? She's like, it's 911. It's the operator. What's your emergency? And I was like, so the phone's already dialed, so I didn't have to dial it. So I told her everything. I gave her my address and all this information, and she kept asking me so many questions. And I was like, I don't understand what you're trying to ask me. I'm an 8-year-old. I can hardly comprehend half of what you're saying. And she was just like, she heard my dad on the phone over me, and he was just like, get a freaking ambulance over here. That's all we need is just an ambulance. We don't have time for your questions. My wife is on the floor unconscious and all of this other stuff. And she was like, okay, tell your father to calm down and we'll get an ambulance there. And she told me to run outside and just wait at the curb for the ambulance, and so that's what I did. And it felt like it took forever for the ambulance to get there. But finally, I saw it at the stop sign, and it was coming my way. And once they got to the curb, they said, where is she? And I said, she's in my room, just follow me. So I took them there, and they told everyone to get out. And so I went out, but I just went back outside because I couldn't handle it anymore. And I just stayed there until I saw my mom come out on the gurney, and she had about 5 other EMS people with her. They put her in the ambulance, and my dad went in. I couldn't go with them because there wasn't enough room, so I had to wait for my aunt, and she came about 5 minutes later after the ambulance left. She took me up there, and all I heard for the rest of the night was, "You're a hero, you called 911, and all of this other stuff, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't do that. They were already on the phone. That wasn't me. But also, I didn't feel like I was a hero because it wasn't my job that I did that. That was my job, but I didn't do it. And it's not like this hasn't happened again, because it has. I just do what I have to do and don't worry about anybody else.